Aunt May is actually Venom. All right, I got you. I see. Thank you, Uncaged Games. Okay, so here's the deal. A couple of days ago, I asked you guys to give me some of your hot takes for Marvel Spider-Man 2, and man, did you guys deliver. But now what I want to do is jump on Twitter and ask some of you guys to give me some of your wildest theories for Marvel Spider-Man 2. And I specifically stated that I want to limit the amount of so-and-so is Venom theories. So let's go over it. Let's see what some of your crazy theories are here for Spider-Man 2. Tony Stark is actually Venom. Okay, I'm done. My friend Christian here says Peter will injure or kill someone Miles cares about while wearing the symbiote suit and fracture their friendship deeply, and that'll affect the third game. Now, spoiler alert if you haven't read the comic books, but Rio Morales, which is the mother to Miles Morales, is actually killed by the hands of Venom. Now, I don't think anything as crazy as that is going to happen at the hands of Peter Parker, because if Peter Parker, even with the symbiote suit, were to actually kill somebody, well, then he's not going to recover from that even when he removes the symbiote. And I don't think Insomniac is going to go that far. I don't think that they want to put the character of Peter Parker in a position where he may not be forgiven. Who knows though? Maybe he'll hurt somebody that Miles cares about. Maybe it's just going to be the fracture within their friendship, within the way that they butt heads after Peter is affected by the symbiote. I think it would be interesting if there's something that happens between the two of them that maybe even carries over into that third game. This person here says Mr. Negative boss fight with Miles. He won't finish him off though for the I'll be just as bad as the bad guys trope. I mean, you know what? You're kind of right, and to be honest, I do think something similar to this is gonna happen. You might be calling it here, just as I'm calling you guys right now, scrolling down and hitting the thumbs up button. We know that Martin Lee is gonna have a run-in with Miles Morales at some point, and Miles is definitely pissed at him. The question is just gonna be, how does that confrontation take place? Does Martin Lee still even have his Mr. Negative powers? And I can imagine it's gonna be a little bit of what you're saying, you know, him not wanting to kill Martin Lee as this I'll be just as bad as the bad guys thing, but also it's gonna be Martin Lee apologizing, him feeling so terrible for the things that he has done. I think we're gonna see something there from Martin Lee where they're gonna try and give him a bit of redemption. This one got some people riled up, okay? They said Peter dies at the end and Miles becomes the main Insomniac Spider-Man. This is how it should be. Oh boy. People in the replies are saying, never talk on this topic again. Thank God bro's not writing Spider-Man 2. We need the peak rivalry between Peter and Norman in the inevitable Marvel Spider-Man 3. That last person has the most level-headed take on this. I will say, I think we might be leading to the inevitable death of Spider-Man storyline, and we know that in the Ultimate Comics that is at the hands of the Green Goblin. So of course, you know, they want to get to that Marvel Spider-Man 3, and I think it's fairly obvious, everyone can guess at this point, that they're gonna set up Green Goblin for that game. I'm not against the idea of Miles becoming the main Spider-Man, I just want them to get to the end of a trilogy first. I want them to complete Peter's story. And in my personal opinion, that story is not complete without Gabi. This one isn't quite the wild theory. To be honest, a lot of people have this theory, but they say here, I think Harry is gonna die in this game 100%, giving Norman the motivation to become the Green Goblin and kill Spider-Man. But the way Harry is going to die is basically Venom eating him alive and only leaving his skeleton behind. Okay, I don't know where that second part came from. That got real dark real fast. But yes, I think that's gonna be the big emotional climax of the game. If Harry is Venom, him having the symbiote is what's curing him, but also is what's causing him to wreak havoc on New York. So Peter has to make the sacrifice to remove the symbiote off of Harry, killing his best friend as he succumbs to his disease. This drives Norman Osborn nuts, and he creates whatever the goblin formula is that turns him into the Green Meanie. So Bum Bum says, okay, 3+ missions with Daredevil, including one where Matt helps Miles fight Peter with the symbiote suit. That is crazy. Couple references to a man with claws in the news/newspaper, and a post-credit scene /DLC showing Gwen Stacy being hit by a radioactive spider, and then also a potential Hobgoblin appearance. Lot of insane theories here. First of all, Daredevil showing up in Marvel Spider-Man 2, as much as I would love for that to happen, I don't think there are going to be any other Marvel heroes in this game, except for maybe Wolverine. We don't know 100% just yet if that Wolverine game from Insomniac is going to be connected to the Marvel Spider-Man universe, but there are some potential Easter eggs to hint towards that. And we do know that in the Insomniac game Spider-Man universe, he is in a lived-in Marvel world, so of course other Marvel characters exist, but I feel like the actual games themselves, they want to be self-contained Spider-Man stories. So the only way that I see someone like Wolverine show up in this game would be, as you're mentioning there, a post-credit scene. Speaking of which, yeah, maybe Gwen Stacy is going to be in this game, but I highly doubt they're going to make her the Ghost Spider. Give me like a co-op mode that has nothing to do with the actual story of the games, that involves a little bit of the Spider-Verse, and then we can play as the Ghost Spider through that. No story implications, so that the single player is still the single player self-contained story, and then you can jump into the multiplayer co-op with a new character. As for Hobgoblin, I don't think we're going to see anything like that in Spider-Man 2. Vio says this theory is if Venom is a playable character, but I think that we will get a side mission or a DLC expansion introducing Anti-Venom as the main antagonist, being that both Venom and Mr. Negative are prominently featured in Spider-Man 2. You know, a lot of people even have interesting theories about Martin Lee maybe becoming Venom in the game, and then they can have Anti-Venom through that as well. That could be, you know, cool, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Caden says, I think that we'll be getting a Kraven's Last Hunt moment where Peter is bested by Kraven and buried in the symbiote suit. I desperately need a recreation of this shot in the game. I think you're bang on the money with this theory. Insomniac likes to do their own thing with the Marvel Spider-Man games, no doubt about it. They have their own personal stamp on this character, but they are definitely a big fan of the comic books, and Kraven's Last Hunt is probably one of the biggest Kraven stories from Spider-Man comics. And this cover here is one of the more iconic Spider-Man comic book covers in general. So I feel like, you know, Insomniac would be remiss to not have an opportunity to recreate this moment. And I also think it would be great to showcase how powerful of a villain Kraven is for him to beat Spider-Man. Bill Roseman at Marvel Games mentioned that this is meant to be their Empire Strikes Back, and the most important thing about that movie is that the villains win. Abby's got an actual good theory here. Peter will stop Miles from hurting Mr. Negative early in the game, and late in the game, Miles will use whatever Peter said to him to convince him to give up the symbiote. You got the mind of a writer there, Abby. This is definitely something that I could see happening. Okay, Ozan's got a couple of interesting theories. Yuri Watanabe will turn to the good side or maybe even sacrifice herself. Yuri, Wraith maybe turning to the good side. That's something that I could see happening. There's going to be quite the run-in between Wraith and Peter's Spider-Man, given the hint that we had from that in the DLC for Spider-Man PS4, and I just wonder how exactly that's all going to come to a head. What's the climax of that confrontation between Wraith and Spider-Man? But I can absolutely see, considering we have some bigger threats to worry about in Marvel Spider-Man 2, that Wraith ends up maybe sacrificing herself to help one of the Spider-Men. Average Joe says Doc Ock comes back near the end to help Peter and Miles beat Venom or Goblin, and we get hints to a superior Spider-Man storyline. Please, God, no, do not do this. I know some people like the superior Spider-Man storyline from the comic books, and honestly, in the comic books, it's pretty damn interesting. I don't want it anywhere near the games though, please. Ooh, this is interesting from Daniel. Miles will be sick from the new form as his exposure was gigantic. He gained new powers from it, but will have to cope with sickness from prolonged exposure. This could be one to watch out for as a potential storyline that leads us into Marvel Spider-Man 3. And finally, let's go over this one here. My wild theory, Caboose, is that Venom is going to destroy New York by overtaking it with the symbiote and becoming a big monster. Web of Shadows style, I like it. I don't think they're going to do this though. I think the fight against Venom is just going to be normal, like monster-sized Venom. I don't think they're going to do something like Web of Shadows did, which was cool, where you fight just this Godzilla-sized symbiote. And there you have it, some wild theories for Marvel Spider-Man 2. Now I'm going to kick it to you guys. Sound off with your wild theories in the comment section below, and out of all the ones I went over in this video, which one do you think is most likely to be true? I've been Caboose, and I'll see you guys later.